Hello, Columbus, and welcome to Burning Issues, the new CSU TV show that examines the important political issues of the day. I'm Dr. Nick Easton from the Department of Political Science and Public Administration. I'm going to be serving as the moderator of today's show and hopefully some future ones, though part of our plan is that we want to see various members of the Political Science Department and maybe some related departments kind of take turns doing this so that we can give you the greatest possible variety and, as importantly, the greatest possible expertise. Today I'm joined by two members of a relatively new organization, a revitalized organization on a campus called Students for Political Awareness Association. The association was alive a couple of years ago but lay dormant, and it's now been revived, and I'm joined by two members of that group to help us discuss the issues today. On my right is Marcelo Henry, a political science major, and on my left, Mary Garcia, also a political science major, and they're going to join me for today's discussion. Today's discussion is about the issue of domestic violence and the NFL. Our friend Taylor Adkins has been tracking this issue on social media. We're going to hear from her quickly.
Hey guys, it's Taylor Adkins with your weekly social media report. This week is a story I'm sure some of you have read, if not all of you, about Ray Rice and the recently released video of him abusing his then fiancée Janae in an elevator. That is what the star of our topic is going to be today: domestic violence in the NFL. Should actions like that, private actions though not uncommon, affect someone's career? How do you feel about your favorite NFL star and their private life? Should that affect how they portray themselves in the sport?
So let's begin with a little background on the issue. Most of you are probably aware of a recent controversy regarding Baltimore Ravens running back Ray Rice, who was filmed actually in an altercation with his wife that led to her being quite badly injured, it appeared. Well, at least knocked out. I guess it wasn't a very permanent injury, but a pretty disturbing video that has led to his suspension and some real questioning of whether or not the NFL has properly handled the issue. So I want to give you a little bit of background on the issue of domestic violence in general, and then turn to our panelists here to get their input to some issues. First of all, and these come from the American Psychological Association, I'm told, more than one woman out of three in this country has experienced rape, physical violence, and or stalking by an intimate partner during their lifetime. 1 out of 3. 1 in 5 female high school students reports being physically and or sexually abused by a date. On average, every day, more than 3 women are murdered by their husbands or boyfriends. And finally, from the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence comes this finding: boys who grow up seeing domestic violence are twice as likely to abuse their partners and children when they become adults. So that does lead us to perhaps the first question. I'm going to throw this over to Mary and get her feedback. Mary, is it an issue of how we raise boys in America?
I think a lot of it has to do with that. Violent socialization is not new to our society. Kids who are raised by in aggressive households always end up being more aggressive. Children raised in mild, peace-loving households, pacifist households, tend not to ever get violent in their lifetime.
You agree, Marcelo?
Well, I agree to an extent to what Mary's saying, but I found that could you really blame just like the nurture over the nature? Because naturally, men are more aggressive, and women are more the nurturing. So, I mean, if you want to take that into context, any which way you want.
So you're saying that it isn't just an issue of how we raise boys in America, it's an issue of boys are naturally going to be more aggressive and violent, and so maybe that's the same issue as we need to talk about how to teach boys not to be that way. Is that the part? You're a parent, right?
Yeah, they yes, boys tend to be a little more aggressive because of the hormonal imbalance between men and women, but also you can teach
Should I have brought in a biologist on this discussion?
No,
or are we at
no. But you can teach a child, no, don't hit, it's wrong. You know, just like when you teach them not to touch the hot stove, you smack their hand, but you don't beat them. You no, push their hand away, no, that's wrong. And it's just continual you have to just keep reiterating that to the child, no, this is wrong. We can talk now in our society, we can read books, there are different ways to solve conflicts than just punching each other. I mean, solving a conflict with violence is no way to solve a conflict, you just start a new one.
Let me move on to a little bit different take on the same variant of this. I'm wondering, and I don't know, are you a football fan, Marcel?
I'm a huge football fan. I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan, to be exact.
Philadelphia Eagles fan. Okay, well, I'm sorry. No.
I am too.
You New Englanders.
I'm sorry. Is some of this about football haters? I noticed that some of this seems to tilt towards the issue of, is there too much violence in the NFL? Does the NFL and the violent style of sport send the wrong message? Is a lot of this about football haters?
No, I wouldn't bring it to football haters because the issue of domestic violence is an undetected issue. It's not really much in the forefront of the public as much as what's going on in like celebrity lives. I think it's an issue of Hollywood and the celebrity status that we put on people, putting them on a pedestal and expecting them to have this holier than thou, appearance to the public.
Okay,
I agree with that.
Okay, I think that's a really interesting take. What you're saying is it's not about football, but it's about celebrities.
Yes.
And that when you're a celebrity, you have certain different obligations. Well, that brings me to another question that I had, and I'll start with Mary on this one. Ray Rice's wife has been terribly upset about this whole incident and felt very bad, kind of implying that the whole thing has been blown out of proportion a little bit, but more importantly, saying that this is a private matter, and she's just almost distraught if you saw some of her comments about what this has done to her husband's career. So I guess the question is this indefinite suspension too severe a penalty? I don't know which one of you wants to go first on.
Indefinite suspension. This.
You're a football fan, also.
Yes,
I know.
I'm also an Eagles fan.
I know that. Okay.
Yeah, I have a fantasy league team and everything.
Okay.
So yes, I'm a football fan. No, the suspension needs to be. The problem with the NFL right now is it's not whether it's too severe or not severe. Is they don't have clear defined lines on when a criminal aspect. This is like a criminal thing. This is not just husband and wife fighting. This has gone into a physical altercation, which is assault, and it's going to turn into a legal thing. And when that affects you, just like if you were a teacher in a school and you were caught doing illegal substances on TV, you would be fired because you work with children. The NFL has all of America, including children, men and women watching it. You just committed a legal act. Yeah, you've just tarnished the entire sport.
Back to this idea of celebrities having some additional responsibility to set a good example.
Yes.
But to piggyback on what she's saying, Ben Roethlisberger, for example, Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback, was accused of raping 2 women 1 year after the other in Milledgeville, Georgia. Yet there were no consequences taken against him. He was suspended for only 2 games. And not trying to say that, one crime is, worse than another.
This isn't a Pittsburgh, Philadelphia thing, is it?
No, it's not Pittsburgh, Philadelphia. But,
okay.
You have to look at the severity of, the crimes committed. Like, yeah, Ray Rice being suspended, he should be suspended, have counseling. But a lifetime ban from the NFL, I think, is like a little superfluous. If you say, for instance, you being, a professor, say you do something illegal and you get caught, and they're like, okay, we're terminating you for life because of something you did.
No, and I think all of us that are in a profession like being a college professor, teachers, recognize that you do have some extra obligation to make a good example, and I understand the very severe nature of this issue, and we should be treating it that way. And I don't want to spend too much time on the football issue, but that has been a part of the issue. So I'll have one last quick football question on this for both of you. Should the commissioner, Roger Goodell, be forced out of football as a result of not handling this correctly?
No, that's just, I don't see. What he needs to do is put his commission together and set defined rules for if it's this severe, this is going to be your penalty. That way it's across the board. Because we have Ray Rice, who is now suspended, and yet you have last night, the 49ers, their player, he's still up under investigation in San Francisco 49ers. Let him play last night.
Right, unfortunately.
And there's actual physical evidence that he harmed her physically, pictures, hospital reports, but he's still playing. So they need a defined rule is what they need.
Okay. Unfortunately, they didn't allow Adrian Peterson to play last night against the Patriots. Which
He will be playing next week. It came on my Bleacher Report today.
Okay, but
that was
he didn't
that
play
was
the
a
Patriots
that was a
last
matter
night, so
of
the Patriots finally got a win, which
that was a matter of
little
discipline, though.
nervous.
Oh, that's
about.
different. That's a little different. That's a matter of discipline. I know as a child, if I messed up, I got paddled. Yeah, get paddled. You wanna know why? I learned. Don't do that again. I learned. I put my hand on the hot stove like Mary talked about earlier. Got a big boil in my hand. I learned. You know. You can tell children that weren't disciplined. You're a teacher. You can tell the ones in your class that weren't disciplined and the ones that were.
Okay, so again, to some extent, it's back to the question of how we raise our children, and we won't say boys versus girls. And I'm going to throw out this ridiculous question, and I almost apologize for it, but I asked Mary, so we'll see if we can get her reaction on camera to it, whether or not there's any significant cases of women abusing men. I mean, is that an issue at all? Is it a one-sided issue?
No, the thing is we need to stop looking at it as male and female issue. It's a violence issue.
Right.
That is the problem. This is a violence issue. It's not a male issue. It's not a female. Because yes, men do get abused by women and their partners if they are in same-sex situations just as much as women. Now, the problem is the reporting of this. The whole problem with this entire issue is both men and women lack reporting these issues. They keep it to themselves because, like Ray Rice's wife says, it's a personal issue. They don't report these crimes, and so nothing gets done. And we're in the 21st century. This should be an issue we should be able to easily solve by now.
Would you say that it comes down to a sense of pride for men if they're being abused by women, that they don't want to like be in public? Like, oh, I've been abused by my significant other, and you know my friends down at the bar are gonna make fun of me, like, oh, dude, you got beat up by a girl. Or do you think for women it comes from a sense of fear, like if I go and tell, I might end up dead?
That fear of your guy friends making fun of you at the bar is the same fear that women have for going to report it. For them, nobody's going to listen to me. Nobody's going to believe me. They're going to say that I did something to cause it.
Right.
It's got to be down to a violence issue, not a male or female issue.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you know, and I raised that question knowing that to some extent it really is an unfair question. I mean, this is an issue of men abusing women, and we shouldn't try to change that or allow the subject to be changed. One of the reasons I asked it is, if that's the case, is that going to be an issue for our upcoming elections?
That is yet to be seen.
What do you think, Marcelo?
I think that it shouldn't really affect the upcoming elections. This is, you know, not. I mean, yes, it's a political matter, but it's separate.
I mean, I make no secret of the fact that I'm a liberal Democrat, but let me play conservative Republican for a minute and say that bringing this issue out today is a way to gin up the women's vote for the upcoming elections because women are going to be upset and that's going to make them politically more. I mean, am I just being a political scientist where I see everything in the terms of politics, or is there an aspect to that?
I wouldn't just go that far and say, I mean, you never know who's like, you know, the think tanks are that are, you know, coming up with these things, or like who's like, because Goodell had the video footage of the incident since April, and it's only coming out now in September, late August, September. So you know, like,
and now he's forced to deal with it as a political issue.
Yeah. So you never know who's, you know, whoever controls the media and the information. Like, I'm pretty sure they have footage about other people doing it.
The whole sensationalism.
Well,
problem with our media.
Yeah.
Okay, let me do a interim wrap up, if you will, a little bit of a wrap up, and then I'm going to give each of our panelists here an opportunity in what we call a lightning round to come back and hit some points that they think were really important that may have been missed in the discussion, or other things they want to say. But to wrap it up, I think what we've discussed here is the idea that this issue is an issue that involves relationships between men and women, and that it has to do with the way we raise our children and a lot of things that have to do with the way we operate as a society, and that the NFL comes into it because of the responsibility of any group, not just football. We've decided it's not football haters per se, but any group of people that are out in the public ought to be cognizant of the responsibility they have as public figures to set a good example and do the right thing. And we're not sure if it's going to be an issue in the elections. Does it get anybody's attention? My panelists don't think so, but I wonder if all this attention to this issue will do anything to increase the turnout among females who from surveys tend to be more likely to vote Democratic. So we'll see if that has any effect, and particularly in particular areas. But I'm going to give Mary and Marcelo a second to see if they have any last-minute points they want to make in our so-called lightning round, and we'll see if we can get some provocative statements out of anybody. Mary, what are we missing?
I did a little bit of research. 77% of the average American citizens who are convicted of domestic violence are usually convicted and serve some time or go on probation. Only 21% of athletes, star athletes that are accused, ever get convicted, ever actually go to trial and have any consequences.
So does that mean that athletes are getting away with it, or does that mean that athletes are more likely to be well disciplined and to learn their responsibilities to society?
Oh, they're definitely getting away with it.
Oh, okay.
Definitely getting away with it. Think about it. I mean, go back to like past political figures. Ted Kennedy, that car accident.
Chappaquiddick.
Look at let's see, Bill Clinton's sexual assault history.
Don't you have any Republicans on this list?
I'm a skeptic. I'm a hardcore skeptic.
Okay, maybe that's where we'll leave it then. We've come to the conclusion that it looks like Democrats are more likely to be involved with. No, just kidding. I'm a liberal Democrat, and I do not believe that. What we have come to the conclusion of is this program, and we enjoyed everybody's input, and we're going to let it go with that. And I want to thank Mary Garcia, Marcelo Henry, and the SPA organization, the Students for Political Awareness Association, and the Department of Political Science and Public Administration. So I think that wraps up today's discussion, and we want to give it back to Taylor Adkins to tell us about next week's show. Thank you all.
Thanks, guys. That was great. Make sure you tune in next week as we discuss income disparity. Please send us your opinions and tweet them at CSUTV, #TeamBurningIssues.